something goes wrong and the bad guys win that day and they never see their family member again. And yet my Democrat colleague repeatedly referred to our honorable ICE and CBP agents as masked thugs.
All right, y'all. Did you just catch that? I am literally sitting here with my jaw on the floor watching Marjorie Taylor Greene basically accuse every federal employee of being a deep state operative. I mean, seriously, I've seen some wild things come out of Capitol Hill. But this is a whole new level of conspiracy level thinking. But then, thank God we see Jamie Raskin step up to the MIC. And let me tell you, the look on his face, that's the look of every single Maryland voter and every single fed-up American who is done with this anti-government circus. He is about to absolutely tear apart her entire deep state theory. And honestly, it's about time someone brought some facts into that room. We're going to watch the full exchange right now. But man, get your popcorn ready. This is the definition of a clapback. Let's roll the tape.
More incomprehensible, considering it comes after Trump and congressional Republicans already created an $85 billion slush fund for ICE during the last budget reconciliation process. In my district, ICE has used the money to terrorize Minnesotans, particularly our black and brown communities, through Operation Metro Surge. We watched in horror as ICE agents murdered our neighbors, Renee Good and Alex Brady, in broad daylight. We witnessed our neighbors being snatched off the street, pulled from their homes and cars without a warrant. We saw dozens of children ripped away from their families, friends, and schools, shipped to detention centers out of state. Our communities are still recovering from that devastation caused by the federal occupation and the blatant trampling of the rights we as Americans hold dear. We cannot send this rogue and unaccountable agency another cent.
You'll hear my colleagues no doubt say, if we could just agree on some common sense reforms, we would have opened up the Department of Homeland Security. We would have been glad to work with you. But let's think about these quote unquote common sense reforms. To require this administration to get a judicial warrant to expel criminal aliens from our country. There is not a Democrat or Republican former commander-in-chief that would ever find that acceptable. Because in fact, these criminal aliens have had their day in immigration court, and they have their orders to be expelled because they are not here with cause. They are here with threat to my family and to my community and to my great state of Texas and to this beloved country of ours, and it's unacceptable. But they would effectively stop all deportations. But we had an election after 4 years of lawlessness and chaos at the southern border, crime, criminals, and all kinds of criminal elements and drugs that killed more people than the entire Vietnam War in 1 year. And this president was elected to restore law and order, rule of law in this great civil society of ours. It's been an embarrassment for those 4 years, and he's done it, and that's what the people sent us here to do. That's the mandate they gave us, along with unified Republican leadership. But there's been one wall of obstruction after another for this president and this administration. And that's one example of their ridiculous, absurd, unserious demands. The other one is, and I heard this at the Rules Committee, my friend, and I couldn't believe my ears. They called our law enforcement agents who risk their lives to keep us safe. Their families pray and wait for their mom or dad to come home, wondering if something goes wrong and the bad guys win that day and they never see their family member again. And yet my Democrat colleague repeatedly referred to our honorable ICE and CBP agents as masked thugs, when evil is called good and good is called evil. You remember that quote? You remember that admonition? These are the days. Mr. Speaker, we've given 16 chances and all opportunities to vote to turn this government of the people back on and support our ICE and CBP agents, to protect our ports by funding our guardsmen, to protect the CISA agents, to protect our critical infrastructure while cyber attacks are on the rise, and to resource our FEMA agency to be ready to respond to our citizens in a natural disaster. 16 times they said no. No. And here we are. Demasking our agents, calling them masked thugs. 8,000% increase, Mr. Speaker, in death threats to these gentlemen and gentlelady who wear the badge, who wear the uniform, who protect the thin blue line. 1,300% increase in assaults. 3,200% increase in vehicular assaults. We know who they are. We have made great effort to identify each agent so they would be held accountable if they did anything illegal or inappropriate. But we have cartel members who have bounties of tens of thousands of dollars on their heads. And we have masked, leftist, radical, violent folks who are assaulting them in the streets while they're trying to do their dangerous job. You want to know why we're here, Mr. Speaker? You want to know?
Wow. Can we just talk about the contrast there? On one side, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene. And let's be real, what was that? It wasn't a policy debate. It was a circus act. She's sitting there talking about deep state slush funds and accusing federal investigators of running political hit jobs in broad daylight. I want to know what planet she's living on. It's the same old script. Shadow governments, rigged elections, rogue agencies. It's tired. It's fake. And honestly, it's dangerous. When you call federal law enforcement the enemy of the people, you are putting a target on their backs. Period. But then enters Jamie Raskin. Did you see the composure on that man? That wasn't political theater like some people want to claim. That was a man who actually understands what's at stake when you set fire to the institutions that hold this democracy together. When he started dropping those facts, a record number of congressional subpoenas ignored, a systematic dismantling of oversight mechanisms that took decades to build. Those aren't just stats, folks. Those are American safeguards. Those are the checks and balances that every single one of our kids is going to inherit one day. What really got me was when Raskin brought up the Constitution. He's 100% right. We had an election, and the American people sent a clear message. We want accountability. We want transparency. We don't want government efficiency. That is actually just code for gutting every agency that dares to push back and silencing every whistleblower who speaks up. Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to talk about government overreach. How about the families across this country losing faith in a system being hollowed out from the inside? How about the terror of watching a sitting congresswoman treat our intelligence community like the villain and actual foreign adversaries like they're no big deal? Raskin stood his ground, and he didn't flinch. He called out the absurdity point by point. And you could see it. She had nothing. No rebuttal. Just that typical look of, how dare you bring receipts into this room? Well, Jamie brought the receipts. He shut it down. And if you ask me, we need about 400 more people in that building with half the intellectual backbone Raskin just showed. We are done being lectured by people who treat the Constitution like a prop and oversight like a punchline, but I want to hear from you guys. Are you as fired up as I am? Did Raskin go far enough? Or is it time we start demanding even more accountability in that building? Drop a comment below. Let's get into it. And don't forget to smash that like button for the truth.